So I'm delighted today, finally, to have a conversation with Maria Nevelson, granddaughter of the incomparable Louise Nevelson. We are going to take a peek in her grandmother Louise's jewelry box and get a bit of insider Nevelson style tips. I think granddaughters through time are fascinated with their grandmother's jewelry and have that intimate access to it, to looking, to trying it on. Those early experiences turn us into jewelry wearers and sometimes jewelers. So, sometimes jewelry makers. But when your grandmother's Louise Nevelson, we're on a whole different level. So, let's do that today. All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Maria, and then I'm going to kind of be more nudge than interviewer. So we have our little show we're going to do. Anyway, Maria Nevelson is the founder of the nonprofit Louise Nevelson Foundation, established in 2005, and Nevelson LLC Design and Art Consulting. In her role as executive director, she collaborates on projects supporting their mission to champion the art and life of her grandmother, increasing access to information, preserving the art through the catalog resume, and sharing fresh insights through the oral history program. Maria's design and art consulting draws on her experience as a senior living interior designer, jewelry designer, and sculptor. I'm honored to be sitting next to her and as part of our Louise Nevelson tag team.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for coming. There's a lot of you and some friends that I know. All this, it's very exciting for me. I'm going to read because I go off on tangents because my grandmother was such a full life, so I'll start out here. This talk is about my personal experience with my grandmother's jewelry, her art, and what she chose to wear. I will share with you the style lessons I learned from her. She incorporated ethnic jewelry from her travels, most notably Iran and the American Southwest, and from her local go-to store, Knob Kerry. I'm wondering if some of you remember Knob Kerry. Knob Kerry carried jewelry and clothes from around the world and even made beautiful coats and dresses. And my grandmother was a regular customer. And my gifts, like at 15, was this Pakistani vest, which I've kept, I wear. It was very influential in my life, though, to receive clothes and jewelry from around the world, because I was not traveling. I was in Connecticut, high school, whatever. So this grandma's teaching me about the world through clothes, through jewelry. She shaped my awareness, and she encouraged me by doing that to be friends with everybody around the world and to be open to new friendships. My first real jewelry was a Zuni turquoise necklace that she gave me about 1965 because she was working in Amarillo, Texas. And then Japan, she had a show in Japan in 1966, so it was a Mikimoto pearl, so I learned about Mikimoto pearls. And I still have these, by the way, I keep things. And my life is enriched by my grandmother's jewelry, and for that I am very grateful, really every day. And I enjoy a mix of the family jewels, and like I have on today, and other times, dare I say, conventional jewelry. Yes, I do like my diamonds and emeralds and stuff. I don't get that much, but I like them. And I'm open to this atmospheric dressing sort of way, which is my grandmother's style of dressing. So let our adventure begin. And did I? Okay. Okay, help out. Did I hit a button?
Got it.
Okay. Oh, there's me with my grandma, about 25 here. And so this is, style lesson number 1. Grandma, why do you wear big pieces of jewelry? Well, it gives me a look I like. One of the things I've discovered preparing is artists, and some of us, are not that descriptive about the intensity that's going on with this jewelry. So she would say it's because it gives me a look I like. She wouldn't expound on it. So But she did teach me the power of dressing, of branding yourself, and in every moment when she was before the public, it was an opportunity to not only recognize her unique work, but to recognize her as the creator. So in her case, she wanted to dress like her artwork, and that when you walked in the room, you'd say, "Hey, great artwork, but who did this?" You know, you walked in the room and said, "Oh, she did it. She did." And so she created this, and as she said, a total experience of herself and what she looks like with her artwork. That's branding. We use the word branding now, but back then it was not. She just did it. So, am I clicking this at the wrong? Here we go. For those of you who need to be refamiliarized, I just want to show some pieces of her artwork so you'd understand her artwork and how it and then ended up out here, and then the jewelry. This is a sampling. So Dawn's Wedding Feast was part of Museum of Modern Art's 16 Americans in 1959, and she created this all-in-white environment called Dawn's Wedding Feast. This was one of the chapels. It's now at the Whitney Museum of Art, and an important development period for my grandmother. Mrs. N's Palace is sometimes out at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, 1964 to 67 of the years on that one. You can actually walk in there. So here she's really exploring architecture, interior architecture, exterior architecture. It was another ability, which she was amazingly able to handle all kinds of materials, all kinds of scales, which will be another. And so, but that's one of them. And then on the far is Sky Cathedral. It's a museum of modern art now out on the floor, and that was 1958, I think. So, but she'd take a box, she'd fill it with all these pieces of wood from the streets of New York, and each cell would be composed, and then she'd build up the boxes into a wall, and it, like on the far side, and it was still composed. Harmonious was words she would use. So her outdoor commissions, the civic commissions just here in New York, shows her command of time and space. She could handle. It's really hard for most of us to handle large scale when you get thrown outside, and she managed it. The biggest piece here is 40 feet tall. It's in Corten steel. It was sort of a masculine piece of material to work with, but she had no problem. And on the far side is Skygate, New York. It was at the World Trade Center. It was obliterated in 9/11. I never saw it until December 12th with an organization called Art Authority Museums. They're creating an application for online viewing of artworks. So they've pieced this together in dimension with shadows and scale, and you have a virtual room and you can see it, and there's more to their story, but it's a way of bringing artworks back, or a way of bringing artworks that are in storage in art museums out into view for the public, but we're doing it online, which some of us are still adjusting to. But who made the best dress list in 1977? Miss America, she did. So who knew? So within her Indian, probably from Knob Kerry, jacket, she was at Newburger for an opening. 1958, she's feeling her oats in a Grand Central Moderns in her exhibition, where it was the first time she created an all-black environment, a whole gallery space, put the blue lights on, and altered the way we all looked at it. Francesco Scavullo did a photograph of her, and I like it because she's very glamorous and beautiful. So I included that, but so she was a style icon. Style lesson number, okay, here we go. If you think you are not put together, well, you can't confront the world. And that was something that she taught me, was I feel good today. I could have worn other parts, but these were the parts that worked for me today. So my grandmother taught me how important it was to wear what made you feel good. They contributed to your confidence and feeling centered, which was a big lesson. And when you are centered, no one can throw your balance off. Style lesson number 3. Well, Leslie Cammey said it in an article, which is very good. Nevelson made old age the stage for a fashion revolution. Gradually, her full-blown style emerged, an immense collage whose elements were subject to miraculous transformations, ethnic jewels. So that's how, yeah, my grandmother in old age. I'm going to look like this in 10 years. Yeah, beautiful. I'm game. Okay, so I wore the Sam Kramer here today. There, my grandmother's wearing it in a photograph that her assistant took. So I get this. It's like in the jewelry box. I don't know what it is. I reach out to Denise Lassaw because her father's Ibram, and he made jewelry. And I said, "Hey, Denise," and she said, "No, it's not my father's. Talk to Tony." So I reach out to Tony Greenberg. We have a book, and Greenbaum, sorry, and Greenbaum, and Tony said that's a Sam Kramer. So I'm on a track, but where this one goes, I don't know. I just know, but you have some ideas of where it.
I also said it's one of the best I've ever seen, and
That's
had I
really-
known it existed, it would have been in the book, maybe even on the cover.
When are you writing another book? Let's do a show. But anyway, this is her book. So I know it's circa 1940s, but the provenance, how this all connected and then got to my grandmother is a curious question mark. And so there we go. So that's the Sam Kramer. And I put this in because this 1965 was a pivotal year for my grandmother, because you see her artwork behind her, the assemblages. That happens to be a gold one, not a black one, but assemblage. And then she started to make her own jewelry, which is what she's wearing. It's found pieces of wood. In some cases, it looks like framing material because of the grooves, but she's taking the ordinary, laying around, whatever, and transforming it into extraordinary in her way. And so this is the beginning. And then the gold comes on. Well, shifts it right out. So these pieces are in Didier. Didier has a collection of my grandmother's jewelry because it's their passion, and this is their collection. And they've in the previous, I believe the necklaces were then layered or lined with gold, and that's how they got to this point. The far set of earrings have citrine in them, so I find that intriguing, you know, a really nice stone. My grandma wouldn't do diamonds, but she'd do citrine. And then the earrings in the middle actually show up again here and in that photograph. Hope Mackler was a gallerist in Philadelphia who Helen Drutt and I both know, and I used to work for her son. And those were Hope's earrings. And Hope, I saw her collection. She had a big brooch, and she just loved her Nevelsons.
And these were also, right, on the cover of this exhibition, jewelry in 1972 at MoMA. So I think Hope got these, you think, after the exhibition?
Probably. I don't know. Helen may know.
Well, she represented Louise.
Right.
She represented Louise Nevelson in Philadelphia.
So she may
Right.
have may have been gifted to her.
Well, they were good friends also after success and years, and so I kind of don't know where, but I would imagine they were in the show, and then they got to Hope.
And through Hope, she commissioned clothes to be made for her by Jane McCartney, who was a major student at Moore College of Art. So all those crazy quilt jackets were made by Jane.
Oh, wow. anybody else has connections, let me know. But this is like,
So, I mean, all right, so this says owned by, these were owned in 1966 by Mrs. Albert List.
Vera List, yeah.
Vera List.
So she had them, okay, so she loaned them, and then, but eventually,
They wound up with
Hope. I got the jewels on here, and so this is atmospheric dressing. And, excuse me.
She's wearing the Jane McCartney.
Oh, I thought that was Skazi.
What?
Arnold Skazi. You think that's a Jane McCartney? Ah.
Looks like it's patch of, my eyes are big. Is it a patch of lace on the sleeves?
No, it's a pattern that looks like that. And I'm pretty sure it's Arnold Skazi that did that. And then she put these on. And then the other one is Look magazine in 1968. And I just, well, I'm enjoying my grandmother's sexualness. Like, those leather boots are pretty hot. You know, so. And she was feeling good. And here's, so fuck them. I mean, just, you can read it for yourself, right? So it had a gorgeous paisley, woven upholstery, thick paisley that was on the inside, which in some photographs we'll see it on the outside because she liked to have the fur against her skin. But in some photographs it was reversed. And so, anyway, I find that an intriguing photograph too. And then her style lesson 6 was, if you don't feel right in the clothes, because I asked her in that oral history, well, Grandma, if you wear something you don't feel right, I won't wear it, she said. I was like, whoa. So anyway, this is a picture just of interest. Diana McCowan took, so it's in another Skazi outfit, and Diana McCowan was her assistant personal photographer because she was there. And Diana passed earlier this year, so now I've got a new archive of all, of these negatives. They've got about 7,000 images to archive. So I found this the other day, so you know.
I was gonna just show.
What's around her neck? What is?
I don't know. You want to wear it? Go ahead. I don't know. I really don't know what's around. I think she was camping and they were having fun. I mean, she had a humorous and silly side of her, and I think when they were drinking, things happened. So I
was going to just show this, you know, just saying, talk about Diana.
Oh, Diana McCowan, yeah.
Right, because this is a wonderful book that Louise wrote, right? And with Diana McCowan. And and it has her photographs throughout it. But it's really Louise's whole life and her words.
It's her words, and I love that book because they recorded my grandmother, so it was her oral history, and then, you know, cleaned it up for a book to give it, you know, an organization. But it's my grandmother's words, and I can hear her syntax. So if I need to visit with Grandma, I read the book, and it's like, oh, yeah, like that's what she did in that situation. So for me, it has a lot of personal resonance. But for everybody else, they can see how she spoke. And she had an interesting way of delivering her thoughts. So, style lesson number 7. I think of myself in extremes as utterly, she said it, primitive and utterly sophisticated, never liked the middle ground, the most boring place in the world. She was pretty quick on that one. So this is Arnold Newman. He was a very famous photographer, caught her in her studio, and she has on that necklace, which is African glass beads, but with Islamic, Middle Eastern metal shapes, you know, beads. And so I imagine it's a trading. Look, some people here know a lot more than I do. It's like, what's in the box and now what is it? So it's the beginning of understanding jewelry and bead trading, and it traveled from Africa to the Middle East and who knows where, and so there's more to it. But she's wearing it in this photograph with a pre-Columbian jade necklace that I think I accidentally pulled apart and put it with something else because I get bored, so I make things. But that's her ensemble. This is her total look. This is her branding. But I liked how she combined the sophisticated with something from another culture that may have been hundreds of years ago and considered not as sophisticated as we are now. But she recognized pre-Columbia, she recognized them and taught me they were all extremely sophisticated. They just didn't have the technology to express themselves that we have. They didn't have the science, this and that, but they were not backwards by any means. You look at their ability with astronomy and you know more. Anyway, I appreciated that lesson. What happened?
Wait, let me just see. This is. We did that.
Okay. There we go. So I have another heirloom that came to me recently, and that was the African amber necklace, these big chunky. So there's two of them. She got them either from Arnaldo Pomodoro. Of course, on the label it only says Pomodora, but it's probably Pomodoro because she was friends with the sculptor Arnaldo Pomodoro, but also his brother Joe Pomodoro, who now I've read both were jewelers originally in Milan. So anyway, they give her this necklace, one of them, and here she's in Philadelphia. Bicentennial Dawn was dedicated in 1976 for our bicentennial, and First Lady Betty Ford came up, and it was a wonderful dedication. They had a big ceremony, and it was very exciting. These two hit it off. They had a good drink. They really hit it off. And then the after party is with Hope Mackler, and my grandmother has her African amber on. Hope has those earrings on. Hope has an Indian tunic on, and she has a necklace. I believe it's also Indian, because we had Stella Kramer, right, Helen, at the art museum, who was going to India all the time and brought it into the museum. And they all know. And Hope has these things. Well, there's a photograph further down in the party, and they're off Hope, and my grandmother's holding them, and I have them now, okay? So I take the necklace, though, because last month down in Arkansas, at the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts, they had an exhibit, and it combined two artists, my grandmother Esfir Slobotkina, who, like my grandmother, created her artwork, but created her clothes and her jewelry. And this curator, Catherine Walworth, found that intriguing and an interesting parallel and development in both these women's lives. And so for the first time, the clothes that I have are now, some of them down in Arkansas, so I'm glad to get them out. And but for the opening, I wore the African amber necklace. So
They were both of Ukrainian descent,
yes,
right?
they were. And they ended up here in New York, and they both struggled, and they were single, and they had children, and they just, their creativity, though, I think that was what I learned. The creativity didn't end with, Esfir did, well, Esfir was brilliant too. She did paintings. She did paintings, she designed houses, she designed textiles, she made her own jewelry. So also somebody who's in this artistic mode of, and so whatever they feel like doing, they do. And it gets to be a lot.
Where was she born?
Oh, Ukraine. In 1899, she was born in Ukraine. And thank you. And came here, so she ended up in Maine in 1905. The family came over, her father first. They left because of the pogroms. It was awful. We don't know what she saw, but she probably saw something. And they ended up in Rockland, Maine, lobster capital of the world. I was born there. She couldn't wait to get out. She wanted to come to New York. So she got married to do that. That's what you used to do back then. So this one I brought also because in the jewelry box are pieces from the Pacific Islands. This is a shell necklace. It's so Nevelson to me because everything was off balance. Nothing was perfect. If I got silver candlesticks, some of the silver was worn off. Like, she found beauty in all these things that taught me to find beauty in things too. Didn't have to be perfect. This, has a little shell beads on this side. It's got a red bead on the back. It's, looks like a little imbalanced. a lot of you are designers and jewelers, you get it. You can do that, and it balances itself out visually. Well, anyway, she gets busy. She's invited to the State Department in D.C. at the I think it was White House dinner for Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser. She's got her Arnold Scaasi black lacy couture dress on, and then bang, there's that shell necklace, and then these things, and then another, the dog tag thing I have, it's actually ancient Hebrew on there. I have no idea. Nobody seems to be able to read it because it's so old. And then the shell necklace. Besides what she always treated her head too, and if she didn't, she understood how that was in the balance of this whole ensemble. Well, that shell necklace went to another event with the other necklace. So it wasn't like she had a look, that was it. She couldn't be flexible. Anything could be morphed into anything and included atmospheric dressing. That's today. So thank you. Then shapes and amulets. I was talking to some of you earlier. This necklace, I'm sure she just looked at it as shapes, like, oh, isn't it beautiful shapes? Like, she didn't look into the religion, the culture, or, you know, how men were treating women or anything. She just liked the shape she put in her artwork. You know, it was just a cool shape, and then it got pulled in, and it might have been the toilet seat, which is the classic one to reference, but it was no longer a toilet seat. It's just a cool shape. So I think that's how she looked at these. And then this is an iconic photograph by New York photographer Lynn Gilbert, where she combines Middle Eastern with the Chinese antique robes from the late 1800s. She puts on her velvet riding hat. I mean, all this was part of her look. So then this one is style lesson number 9. Every time I put on clothes, I'm creating a picture. So this is a picture because it was for Richard Avedon. He did a series of photographs of her in 1975 with all her different clothes. But so for this one, she has that Ukrainian, like a traditional Ukrainian pattern scarf. Underneath is a purple scarf that I know she got from Ken Scott in Florence, that was Italian damask cotton scarves that she had. They were gorgeous. And then Arnold Scaasi coat outside, the paisley, nice and thick with boucle on the inside. That's down in Arkansas now. And then underneath is a Chinese dress, embroidered dress, probably from the late 1800s. Antiques, trust me, they're a little delicate now. And at her neck, out of the clear blue, from Costa Rica, a pre-Columbian eagle. Looks good to me. So that's next. Style lesson number 10. One thing you learn, I mean, we've all got it, but tribal jewelry infused with history empowers the wearer. And for my grandmother, it matched the depth in her sculptures and narratives found in each piece of wood. And I've come to think that is an important style lesson for me, was that she needed to have this ethnic older jewelry. If she wore Tiffany and more conventional pieces, it wouldn't be in sync with the wood, because the wood's so old, right? So it would look too new and it would just not jive. So I think she understood that. This is, of course, still got mud on it. I have it, and Avedon photographed her in this outfit with it, and she's beautiful. What can I say? Just style lesson. I like fun and I like men. That was a good lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. And then there was something about sleeping in them and then getting up to work. So she often liked the simplicity of clothes that she could sleep in, and I think she slept in that coat, by the way, and then got up and went to work. So, hey, keep it simple. And this was a new piece to me. So this is in the jewelry box. I don't know what it is. But it had a letter from the jeweler, and it's a Noma Copley. And she worked with, and I looked it up online, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a Jean Stark a loop-and-loop chain in 24 karat gold. And they collaborated on this piece, and it's an Olmec jade disc, and that was dated 1500 to 500 BC. So I wore it once. That's it. Like, okay. But it's, and then I realized that the moon gets its light from the sun. So there's an element of reflection in here, because this is the sun and the moon to me. So I'm going, well, why? I don't know why they made it. I'm trying to figure out why because they were good jewelers. Anyway.
Is that what she said? When
No.
what was that from?
What, the sun and the moon?
No, when you were centered, people can't control you because they are your reflection.
Oh, thank you. I didn't read that part. Yes. Well, that is back to the earlier with the clothes. When you feel good in your clothes, you're centered, and then you can get in the. Well, when she walked in a room, everybody said, you know, they saw her. I mean, she was commanding, and clothes help you do that. But that's because she felt beautiful and in control and ready to take on the world. So, yes, sun and moon, balance. And then style lesson 13. She said, so when I saw things on the street, I'd pick them up and say, why isn't that object art? And that's how it began. So I included these. They're in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And so Diana McCowan that lived with her, they started to collaborate on jewelry. And so Diana's name is on one of those violin pegs. But they were looking at everything as a possibility. Like we could put that in there, we could put that in there. And so they had their balance and their composition, but it still found objects. And Richard Avedon did another photograph of them all, you know, layered up. Okay. And then style lesson 14. She's got her total look down, and it was a branding package. And it made her hard to forget. And I'm thinking of other female artists that I come to mind quickly are Frida Kahlo and Georgia O'Keeffe. You know, Frida we know dressed. And I think Frida's use of pre-Columbian and Mexican jewelry, it's in her wear, opened my grandmother up to wearing also. And it's opened me up to wear this. I mean, it's very influential, and you see how it's worn, and you get to understand it, and its beauty and all that. So I think Frida Kahlo, they were friends, and it was influential. And then Georgia O'Keeffe, I think she was a little jealous of, because she said, oh, Georgia had suits made for her, tailored, specific for her figure, and everything was clean line, just like her paintings and everything. I'm like, okay, I don't want to get too busy with that one. But she was looking, and that's what it told me. She was looking at an opposite of what she wanted to be, but it was informational. And how Georgia was branding herself, early branding. So, okay.
But your grandmother worked with Diego and Frida, didn't she?
Yes, here on 1931, or when Diego Rivera was here working on the murals, one at Rockefeller Center. My grandmother lived in his building, had a studio in there. And so they all became friends, because she said Diego was which was another lesson for me. So Diego could have anybody at the table. And they socialized a lot, and they had a lot of dinners, and they went out. So they could have, you know, royalty at the table with the garbage man at the table. So that was an early lesson to me, which has kept me very open and fluid, I must say. I enjoy friendships with a lot of people of different walks of life. It's more based on vibration and just how you're communicating with these people, but not to be so rigid and limited. So yeah, that was Diego Rivera's lesson, got passed down. You're right, there we go. Lesson 15. Now I'm going to be off, right? Yep, managed to get myself lesson, slide 15. So this is, I know what this is. This is Tony Aguilar, and the only reason I know it's his is because I was at the Baltimore Museum of Fine Arts couple of years ago. I'm like, I have that. And so he was known for these chunky turquoise necklaces. They're extremely heavy. And these barrels, they're brass barrels. It's brass. It's very heavy. And then he put a little piece of coral or carnelian stone in there, a little red stone. So that's his balance. And so he's known for those. And then that's the first necklace that I got from my grandmother, the Zuni necklace. And I still wear it. You know, it was good, but it very important. Navajo, and I still buy Navajo and Zuni. If I see something I like, I have no problem. Okay, so here we go on the mystery. I'm going to read this because it'll get long otherwise. Every jewelry box passed on has a mystery that keeps you up at night. Mine came with these Navajo-inspired earrings. They're rain cloud dangle earrings in gold. And my grandmother was friends with Paul Peralta Ramos. How, I don't know, but that's Millicent Rogers' son. There are several necklaces identified as his gifts. And not these earrings, but my research, it led me to the Millicent Rogers Museum that Paul established for his mother. And in the museum, they sell a silver version that they have a Navajo jeweler make, the same style. And I also know my grandmother donated 15 Mexican retablos to the Millicent Rogers. So there's a connection there. I don't know what it really is, so I'm piqued. And I included these two photos, because you could see Millicent Rogers. Some of you know who she is, some not. She was the heir to the Standard Oil Company, and along with the Rockefellers, and wealthy. She was a socialite. She was a fashion icon, pictured in a lot of magazines, but she also designed jewelry, like her necklace over there, and I see the violin keys that like my grandmother used on the right side. She was known for stacking all her bracelets, her Navajo or whatever bracelets were. And here she is with Paul when he was young, and she's got her conch belt and all that. So she was an advocate for Native Americans in general. So there's something going on here. I just don't know what it is. And then we get thicker. So there's another thing in the box. This Kenneth J. Lane piece. Well, she gagged. Sorry. I don't know what it's in there for. Like, what is this? So then I read that he made this based on Millicent Rogers' designs, I think. And then I started looking further at Millicent Rogers. Well, she made this necklace for Dame Edith Sitwell. Edith Sitwell was a poet, and quite interesting, and it's sometimes called the first rapper, because she had this strange music, and you can listen to it on YouTube. So she did a series of poems called Facade, and she's talking in this strange rhythm with the strange music, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, education. And my grandmother did a series of Prince Facade based on her poems. So then my grandmother gets a commission with the Opera Company of St. Louis to design stage sets and costumes for the opera singers for Orfeo and Eurydice. It comes in with the beer can necklaces, and then the next slide will give me more to talk about that one. So, yeah.
I think that there is a quote about the Edith Sitwell necklace. I think Edith Sitwell once said, "This was made by my very best friend, Millicent Rogers, whom I only met once."
Yes, that's it. Very good memory. Wow. Yep, that's it. That's it. So who knows? Okay, so then I think I got myself off. I go, no, beauty is in the eye of the wearer. So this is Didier, once again, loves the beer can necklaces. Martine's not here, so I won't make one. But she loves the beer can. I think they're funny as anything. My grandmother is wearing one, By the way, she's got a little necklace up top here that has a nice little diamond on it that I got in the jewelry box. I have no idea where that came from, but she's high and low, and she's got the diamond with the beer can. So St. Louis, their opera company, commissioned her in 1984 to do the sets, the backdrops, and also the costumes for the singers. And knowing her, she has to do a total experience. So they needed jewelry to adorn themselves. So St. Louis is known for Budweiser beer. They get a case of beer, and I just heard this from the archivist there. They get a case of beer, and she's working with the young people. Everybody's drinking the beer, they're getting silly. They take the cans out into the street. Cars roll over them, trucks roll over them, flatten them right out, bring them back in, pay them gold, pay them blank, put a little LN on it, put a rope. Some of them have fishing floats attached, I don't know. And those are the necklaces. And now they're collector's items. So, you know, she pulled something from the gutter and elevated it to grandeur, which is, she was very capable of. I do a sideline, I don't know where we are. So when I'm like, I don't know, 20, she gives me, no, I was 22 because I was in Philadelphia. I come up and she gave me jewelry and I go home with it. And it's a brooch and matching screw-on earrings, gold with garnets, rubies, diamonds, I don't know what they are. And I went to J.E. Caldwell in Philadelphia and I said, could you tell me what this is? Is it real? And they were very polite and they disappeared for 10 minutes. They came back and said, sweetie, it's just costume jewelry. And that would be my grandmother. It looked good. Give it to her. Okay. Look who's up there. This is style lesson number 17. You know, of course, I lost my card, but I can talk about this one all right. That's Helen Drutt over there in her Nevelson brooch. Helen is a style icon for me now. She's looking down, sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass her, but Helen wears not only my grandmother's jewelry, but her art jewelry very well. And it was, she had a beautiful gallery in Philadelphia, and it was really my entree to artists, beyond my grandmother, artist-made jewelry, the beauty of it, which is this whole week is celebrating. I didn't know, but it was Helen that tuned me up and said, you know, look at it, and then how to wear it. So she's got a Nevelson brooch, bless you, and this is Arnold Scazzi, the couture designer, and my grandmother's wearing one of his outfits. They went to the Met costume ball. They went a few times together, and I like the saying because life is a goddamn tough racket. Between those times, you have a complete right to fulfill yourself. It's my belief that's our only true heritage. See here, I'm living proof. I just kept thinking, you know, I keep liking to buy jewelry. Like, I'm fulfilling my heritage. I like jewelry. So. Anyway, and then this is about Celine. So during COVID in 2020, Celine, the fashion house in Paris, came to me and they said they wanted to reproduce a replica of one of my grandmother's brooches. So I showed them a lot. And Eddie Slimane picked this one. I like it because it's got little clothespins in it, and you know, so it takes it out of the clothespin mode, and it's just a beautiful shape. And it was great working with them, and it was my first licensing. I'd love to do more. Hint, hint, anybody? And they did a 50 in gold vermeil, and then 50 in silver with the black wood. So it was a success. They sold them extremely well. I think they're all gone now. So. And then I have pins. I do have here, if you want, they're $20, but I'm a public charity. Look, I got to do my public charity thing. Louise Nevelson Foundation, I established it with nothing, but my grandmother needed a foundation to pull together, be a nexus, keep her legacy going. We're in different times now. You need to be on the web, you need to do your social media. It's just this constant, it's a little overwhelming. You need somebody like a family member to do this. And so I am a 501c3. Yes, I take donations. Yes, I sell pins. It does mean something. I'm not a wealthy woman. I'll stop complaining. And but it's been my honor. I mean, I love my grandmother. I think Faith Daly, I was on CBS Sunday Morning, came out in July, and she just nails it. And she's doing, you love your grandma. It's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm doing this because I love my grandma. I hadn't really recognized it. The foundation is an opportunity for me to create something. It's to use the skills that I have. I have a lot of administrative and legal skills and all this stuff. But there's a lot of time that goes into this. It's very demanding, and as now she's got 13 museum shows around the country and Europe, and those curators are talking to me. So it's a lot, but it is a labor. It's a labor of love. It's totally a labor of love. But I'm enjoying it, and then here you guys came. Thank you for coming and listening.
There are a lot of people in the audience. I mean, we're going to take questions.
Oh, yes.
That are, Denise Lassaw is here, where's?
She's way back there.
Okay, wait. And she was a friend. Her father, I mean, just sort of.
Oh,
maybe.
her father and my grandmother and my father, because Denise, you told me once that your father named my oldest sister Neith.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So my oldest sister's name was Neith. She's passed away, and an exotic name there. And I had no idea, where does that come? Well, it takes a friend. Ibram, the friend, said Neith. So Neith got.
Father asked Abram to name his first daughter
Oh, like an honor thing.
after an Egyptian goddess.
Wow. So neat. So there's a connection, and then over the years, Denise and I have found each other. I forget all the time, but so we're in each other's lives. And her father's having a show at Barry Campbell Thursday night, so I'm coming back. So that's that.
Questions?
Yeah, I have any. Yeah.
You said that some of it comes out of a jewelry box, like you didn't really know much about it, but you also said that she gave you this or she gave you that. I'm interested to know, was there an occasion, or did she just say, here, have that?
The occasion was a visit. If you visited Grandma, you got probably jewelry and definitely clothes and things that maybe she was tired of, or people were giving her things that she didn't really want anymore, so she regifted. I knew the regifting was coming, but it didn't bother me. So I am mixing this up, and I tied it together with style lessons because I realized this is all about style and creating style. Your earrings are stunning, and I'm going, that's your style, and that's who you are. And so they did come. So they came as gifts through childhood. They came as, then they got I got boxes. My father died in 2019, and he sat on them, frankly, and I didn't even know they existed. So bang, I'm like, where's that? I get these boxes in the mail from my stepmother, and I'm going, oh my God, look at that. And then I've been collecting the photographs that she's wearing, because this is a slow archival cataloging. This doesn't, it's very slow. So I'm looking at every photograph now for artwork, for jewelry, clothes. So yeah, they came over time. But anyway, it's her jewelry box. So.
How is your foundation related to the chapel that's here in Manhattan?
It's not related. The chapel is not the Louise Nevelson Foundation. They're the chapel. My grandmother did the chapel in there in 1977, which is, I think probably a lot of you know, the Nevelson Chapel at St. Peter's. Was a wonderful opportunity for her to create a religious environment, but not be religious, because she was not. And their efforts are to preserve that chapel. Is that what you're... Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was a
No, there
connection
isn't.
or
I just,
relationship.
I'm an Aries. I just do it, and I start swimming. And if I get to the float out in the lake, lucky me. It was an adventure I started, and I'm still on it. Very solo. So, thank you. Yeah, that's a good place to go, though. Yeah.
So Arnie Glemsher represented your grandmother. Could you get any information that you needed from him? Because I know they were very good friends.
Correct. And they have an archive, and at times I'll ask them for information, and they'll give it to me, and vice versa. Yeah. So he still represents her. Very, it was a great match, that gallery, Pace Gallery. So I think it was like 1963 that they first started working together in Boston with his Boston gallery, and then she said, if you come to New York, I'll go with you. And she got him, I would say she got him up and running in New York, because she knew other artists, Dubuffet, a lot, and so she would introduce him. She went to the Venice Biennale in '62. He was still in Boston, and he came and showed up for the Venice, and she started to introduce him to the artists there, and just really opened up his world, which kind of gets back to one of our premises, that it's not just jewelry, it's not just you and your adornment. You're actually like, Deborah, I'm never going to forget you. I'm not going to forget you. What you wear, I am not going to forget you. You're opening up my world. And that's what your necklace, these things are all live beyond us in the now and then the future through photographs or wherever they end up. And so it's just really cool. So yeah, that was Deborah.
Do you have any other siblings or cousins or relatives who help you?
No, no, nobody wants to help. And this is typical. I talk with other foundation family members, and it's just a solo kind of, you'd like to make it bigger, but they're not, because it's a big commitment. So my oldest sister, Neith, passed away 2 years ago and had no interest. Her daughters have no interest. My sister Els is estranged. I don't know. She has no interest. And so, but I studied art history at George Washington University, and Isamu Noguchi, one of my teachers was working with Isamu Noguchi and his establishing the foundation and the museum, and that got in my head. And I went to my grandmother and I said, you got one? And she said, no, I'm too busy. So I just finally, in 2005, I decided, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's a why not, which is a mantra of hers. Why not? Like, why are you waiting? So I started, and it's a cool adventure. It really is. But I'm also leaving things for the future. So, information for future generations who, through the oral histories, recording the oral histories. So future, because what we leave, that's all they're going to have. That's what we talk about it. It's like all these connections. Sam Kramer, you wrote the book, thank goodness. It's like for the future, because it's going to end up someplace, and I'm going to go, who is that? And we don't have the answers. But anyway, okay.
Were your parents artistic?
Yeah, both. My father was a sculptor in a very craftsmanship way, but did conceptual work. And so I grew up in the wood shop, and his thinking and drawing out and then making, and so I saw that. My mother was very creative in drawing and ceramics, painting. She was multi-talented there, and she's taught high school, so I probably have a little teaching bug. But they all were creative, and I actually was the only one in the family that didn't think I was creative at all. But I started making sculpture, and it was fun, and it was great. But I do other things, so I think so.
Have you decided where you're going to leave the collection?
No, I don't.
You are going to leave it to a museum, I hope.
Yes, I do want to leave.
Have you decided?
No, I haven't gotten that far. I'm actually going to start talking with the Archives of American Art for some things that I have that they will take, that they might want. It's the beginning. I feel like I have 10 more. I'm 65, so 75. Maybe give me some advice. 75, and then I got to really land the plane. Like, I feel like I'm still taking off and building and making these connections, and then I'm going to have to really sit still.
But if you leave the physical work to the archives, it'll be buried. People won't see it.
I agree, if there's not a study center or some real structured organization. I don't have children. I never wanted children. It would be all right if it goes out to some museum or something. I don't know. Or maybe
This was really a good talk.
Thank you. If I could keep it together, I would, but go with the flow. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
know, I also think you're like on a learning, you know, I mean, just you're still learning about even the jewelry that was, I mean, to kind of.
And then I made her.
No, Helen introduced us, so I just want to.
Thank you, Helen.
And we've been, we became immediate friends, talking about knob carry. That's how we
Yeah.
sort of started. But I just want to say this book, which is really wonderful. I think just was it. I always loved Louise Nevelson's work. Just to hear her words and kind of just hear her story. I mean, coming from Ukraine, living in Rockland, Maine. Just
It's
what she was
inspiring.
doing in the 20s and 30s and 40s. I mean, when she really achieved success, she was older.
She was in her 60s, and she struggled, and it was not easy. She said it was labor pains, and I'm sure many of you have had your own scenarios, and you keep going anyway, because you're in it. So
She did seem to like rings, I noticed. That she never wore rings.
she didn't wear rings.
But she always wore a babushka.
She always had something in her head, usually, and the jewelry, sometimes bracelets. Oh, we forget the eyelashes. Oh my gosh, I did not mention the eyelashes. So, that was part of her look. I think I work all the time with my hands. And the rings can be problematic. Yeah. And I don't do nail polish hardly now because of the archival stuff. It's just,
But I also think you're like on a journey to learn more, and I think through the jewelry, and connecting with Tony. We just found out that, who did we just find out? Phyllis.
Oh.
Well, no, Knob Carey. We were just, because we've been talking about this, Knob Carey, and
Sarah Penn, and
who was a friend of your grandmother's. She worked for Phyllis Sklar. And so I'm just saying all these kind of connections to
there's more. There's more here. We don't know. Like we just know.
So we're just I mean, I think it's just been between us, it's been a sort of really interesting
fun, yeah.
journey through jewelry. But and just finding things because finding new things and putting things together. And I think you're really on that. I mean, just even finding out about Sam Kramer or connecting with Denise. Yeah.
Now I have a couple. They had these big amber, not the African, but amber. I don't know Baltic. I don't know what amber it is, but this big, usually a long chain. Sometimes it ends up around her neck, and it has gold barrels between the big beads, and they're peened or hammered. David Webb did that kind of design, but there's no David Webb mark on it. So what's that all about? So and because I'm curious, you got to be curious, because otherwise you're not going to do this. It's like, where, so I'm on the web all the time and just, what stones, yeah.
Can I just say, this was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I'm 78 years old, and I'm in the glove business, and what you did just inspired me. So don't give up. Keep going. You're still young.
Yeah. The glove business, yeah. Thank you, that's good. It's an adventure. I mean, what are you going to do? Stay home and do nothing, huh? Retire? Yeah, Helen?
I'll tell you one
Anecdote.
One of my personal story. How Magnus told me
Oh, this is a good story. When you're going
I can't hear you, sorry. Speak louder.
Quiet, everybody, please, so we can hear the questions and the answers.
Oh.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah.
Hope Mackler called me one day and said she wanted me to come to lunch because Louise Nevelson was in town. But she specifically asked me if I would wear the best Albert Haley necklace I could find. And I wore one with the ivory that had all the elements. It was one of the most magnificent Albert Haley necklaces. And she said, meet me at the Barclay Hotel. We're going to have lunch with Louise, and I want her to know as well. It was the dumbest thing. I walked into the Barclay, I sat down, and your grandmother was furious because it was better than what she was. It's the most difficult lunch I've ever had.
That's a good story.
Dr. Maria, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
A lot of people are asking, can they purchase the pins? Are they available here, downstairs?
Yeah, here they are.
Would you like us to take them downstairs? We can sell them downstairs? Is that easier
Yes,
or what's easier?
go right ahead.
Yeah,
Or
that's
just
fine.
the Venmo
They were
to
in
the
there.
We could Venmo.
Yeah, let's do that. So
Okay.
I'll take them downstairs.
Take them
Okay.
And Ree's
downstairs.
there.
Okay, and I'll do
Thank
the
you.
break.
Okay, excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you for who's ever buying.
This was terrific, Maria.
I enjoyed
just-
it, but
Thank you, Helen, for the introduction.
I'm
'cause
impressed
we've
with
been-
your audience. Look
Yeah,
who.
it's a great audience. But thank you. I mean, Helen introduced us, and I think we just started talking. The first conversation was 2 hours, and
Yeah, it's one.
because I think you're learning. I mean, you're still learning, and I think that's the sort of exciting part that you're
Yes.
on. And all these different things. What's happening in Arkansas right now, and just the conversations we've had, or finding out about knob carry, or who was wearing what, or that kind of knowing how Didier got the piece from Hope, or all these kind of connections in mid-century modern and to now. So it's been a great becoming
It's been
friends.
fun,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, we've had fun. So thank you, Helen.